Hello, this is David from DN Cognitive Counseling. Tonight I want to respond to a very insightful and helpful comment made by Jennifer on the video, Is Honesty the Best Policy? Jennifer writes, "Hello and happy Thursday. I very much like this video. So much so, I wish I'd seen it 30 years ago." You know, that's a very interesting point that a lot of people have, where they feel like something has to happen a long time ago. Rick Edelman talks about that he does these seminars where he talks about kids about compound interest. And he always says about the end, like even the kids that show up to the seminar, they go, "Man, I wish I saw this like 4 years ago." In other words, they always think that it's always better to get information earlier. And the truth of the matter is it is, but it's also never too late for information and facts to make your life better going forward. So I understand that you wish you would have gotten it 30 years ago. And if I would have gotten to you 30 years ago, that would be incredible. I would have been a prodigy. But I very much thank you for the compliment in that. And I wish that you would have gotten it earlier too. Jennifer goes on. "I think it's also the environment and how you say something that affects how it's received." And I have to say that is 100% true. How you present something, the manner by which you say it, "I love you," or "I love you," or "I really love you." All those things delivered in different ways will mean different things. "You're the smartest person I've ever met." Even though I'm saying the words, "Wow, you're the smartest person I've ever met." Same words, except for the "wow," I just added that. But you get the point that in how you effectuate something is going to change its meaning, so you're absolutely correct. Also, how it's received is also very important. I did a video earlier on about reflective listening, where I go on to explain about how reflective listening helps you to understand what the other person is actually meaning. Jennifer goes on, "If I'm in the middle of getting dressed and trying on outfits, I want you to tell me the truth. If I look fat in one of them, maybe one but not the other. But if I'm already dressed and I'm at the front door ready to leave, and I say, 'Do I look okay?' and then you tell me I look fat," smiley face, smiley face, smiley face. And in context, what it really, I think Jennifer's trying to say, there's going to be hell to pay. And what I think Jennifer was saying, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, is that if it's going to be helpful, the comment, where it's going to protect me from looking foolish or looking bad when I can look better, then I want to know about it because it will be helpful to me. On the other hand, if you tell me it when I'm out the door when I can't change it and you're just going to make me feel self-conscious and horrible about myself, then there's the problem. But I want you to think about what you asked, Jennifer, because this is really important. Why would you ever ask the question, "How do I look?" when it's already too late to change? And by the way, it's in the water. So the idea of it is because a lot of times we look for that affirmation, even if it's not supposed to be coming. And I happen to agree. I think it's very good to recognize in your lines that you're drawing what you see to be helpful to you. Now, other people would feel differently about both those scenarios, and that's important. Jennifer goes on, "By the way, if a woman ever asks if you can tell if they've gained weight, the answer can include both your opinion and the truth." Jennifer says, "I think you're still absolutely beautiful. But yes, I can tell." Now, the reality is that really does depend on the woman and the relationship, and by the way, man also, of whether or not they're able to tolerate that level of openness and honesty in the relationship, or whether they will feel that they're less attractive and less desirable just by the statement. A lot of us like to maintain our denial. A lot of people like to maintain their belief system of certain things that they delude themselves with. That's just the nature of human beings and their desire to maintain their thought processes. It goes back to the video I did on confirmation bias. We like to see things and do things that confirm the way that we think and already do. And that's the reason why when somebody presents something that we disagree with, it sometimes can feel very threatening. There are 3 subjects you can't talk about in public, right? Religion, money, and sex. And the reason why, think about it, is because it hits the core of most people's beliefs. And to ask them those questions, they get very, very nervous. One of the things that I work on the most is to be able to talk about any subject. And I will be talking about further in the future about that concept of being able to talk about any of those subjects without having any of those emotional barriers that get in the way of us actually being able to grow, without being threatened, even about those core subjects. But as I digress, Jennifer goes on. And we can always tell when you're lying with, again, smiley face, smiley face, smiley face. I can honestly say, thank God, Jennifer, you can't. The reality is sometimes you can tell. Sometimes you can tell when somebody has that, especially the guilty conscience. But when I was talking about the aspect of sometimes being true or slightly true to a certain extent, you really can't tell. And sometimes people are lying to themselves, and then you really can't tell because they can't tell themselves. Now, you said something that's very important to the end of your message and why I wanted to respond to this directly. I like truth. Hardcore, honest, brutal truth. But I'm not like most people. Now, I do believe you're not like most people. I do believe there's something individualistic about you, as a lot of people have very individualistic things about themselves. But I don't think that you're being honest with yourself about that brutal truth that you say that you want. If your family were to come in and start telling you all your negative defects and characters, your reaction is not going to be, oh, thank you so much for being honest with me. What will happen is that your self-esteem will be shook. You'll start to question yourself. Like you said earlier in your message, if I'm walking out the door, don't tell me it then. Because there's very little I can do. All it's going to do is hurt me. And brutal honesty, in my opinion in this case, but I think is good for good mental health, is never to be brutal. You never want to be brutal in your honesty. You don't ever want to be brutal. You want to be sometimes direct, but not brutal. On the other hand, people utilize brutal honesty as a way to abuse people, as a way to hurt. Well, I'm just being honest. No, you're not. You're being insensitive, you're being hurtful, you're being uncaring, all in the name to justify what you're saying in the name of honesty. I hope that you found this helpful. I hope that you like this video and you'll hit like. I hope that you subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And most importantly, I hope you'll share this with people who are going through these types of things on an everyday basis. And if you'd like to become a patron to this channel, hit the button below and go to Subcribe-star. Again, I thank you. Have a good night and good mental health.